don't think I've ever bought a drink. I don't know.
What if I told you someone could live in a $30 million palace without paying rent, fly helicopters like Ubers, own a fleet of luxury cars worth nearly £1 million, and have staff arrange dozens of teddy bears on their bed every single day? Sounds like a movie, right? Except it's real, and it's the life of Prince Andrew, one of the most controversial figures ever connected to the British royal family. But here's where it gets even more interesting. While headlines focus on scandal, the lifestyle behind the scenes tells a story that's just as shocking. Today, we're going deep inside the mansions, the money, the luxury, and the reality of one of the most extravagant royal lives ever lived. Before the mansions, before the jets, we need to understand one thing. Prince Andrew didn't just become wealthy, he was born into it. As the son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Andrew grew up in a world most people can't even imagine. Palaces weren't special, they were normal. Servants weren't a luxury, they were part of daily life. And unlike his older brother, King Charles III, Andrew was often described as the spare, meaning he didn't carry the same pressure of becoming king, which, in royal terms, can lead to a very different lifestyle. More freedom, more indulgence, less scrutiny, at least early on. And that freedom? It would eventually shape one of the most extravagant royal lives in modern history. Let's talk about the moment things really took off. 1986. Prince Andrew marries Sarah Ferguson and the media goes wild. Nicknamed Fergie, she quickly became one of the most talked about royal figures of the time. And like any royal wedding, the gifts were big. But one gift stood above the rest. Sunninghill Park, a brand new, custom-built mansion. Not inherited, not renovated, built from scratch just for him. Now compare that to normal weddings. You might get a toaster, some cash, maybe help with a honeymoon. Andrew, he got 12 bedrooms, 665 acres, indoor and outdoor pools, private helicopter pad. It was basically a luxury resort disguised as a home, and the British public noticed. Some admired it, others not so much. In fact, the mansion was nicknamed South York, a subtle jab comparing it to something less elegant. Here's where things get interesting. That mansion, he didn't keep it forever. After years on the market, it sold for £15 million. And not just that, it sold £3 million above asking price. Now, in real estate, that's unusual, very unusual. The buyer? A wealthy businessman. And suddenly, a home that cost Andrew nothing turned into a multi-million-pound payday. And what did he do with that money? He upgraded. Enter royal life. This wasn't just a home. It was history. Located inside Windsor Great Park, this massive estate dates back centuries. And inside, grand halls for royalty, private chapel, expansive gardens, staff cottages, tennis courts, golf range, pool. Basically, a royal dream.
Wow.
Now here's the shocking part. Andrew secured it on a long-term lease, rent £1 per year, and according to reports, he didn't even pay that. Meanwhile, security costs alone hit millions per year, often covered through public funding. This sparked major criticism in the UK, because at a time when everyday people were struggling, a prince was living in luxury almost completely free. But Andrew didn't stop in the UK. He went international. Destination, Verbier, one of the most elite ski resorts in the world. Celebrities, billionaires, royals, you name it. And right there, Andrew owned a luxury chalet. Chalet Helora. Price? £18 million. And here's where the gossip kicks in. He bought it with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. Yes, after their divorce, which raised eyebrows, because despite separating, they remained incredibly close. Some even called it one of the most unusual post-divorce relationships in royal history. Inside the chalet, pure luxury. Indoor pool, sauna, private bar terrace, high-end interiors. A perfect getaway for a very expensive lifestyle. Now let's talk cars. Because Andrew didn't just live rich, he drove rich. His garage featured Bentley Flying Spur, Range Rover Autobiography, Aston Martin DB7 Volante, Jaguar XJ. And here's something almost unbelievable. He bought a £220,000 Bentley, then repainted it completely. Why? He didn't like the original color. That's not just wealth, that's next-level luxury behavior. Now we get to the part that made headlines. Andrew's travel habits were so extravagant, he earned a nickname, Air Miles Andy, and it wasn't a compliment. We're talking 3,000 pounds helicopter rides for lunch, 5,000 pounds short-distance flights, hundreds of thousands yearly. Even officials called him out, because many of these trips could have been done cheaply. But for Andrew, luxury wasn't optional, it was standard. And when helicopters weren't enough, private jets, including access to a 40 million pound Bombardier Global Express. This thing was a flying palace. Bedrooms, dining areas, chef-prepared meals, ultra-luxury seating used for international trips across the globe. At this level, travel isn't just movement, it's an experience. Now, here's where things get interesting. On one hand, luxury watches like Patek Philippe watch Rolex Day-Date Cartier Tank. On the other hand, a collection of 72 teddy bears, arranged daily by staff, each one placed perfectly, some on miniature thrones. Move one, it had to be corrected immediately. Now that's not just wealth, that's a lifestyle most people can't even relate to. So when you step back, what do you see? Free mansions, millions in property deals, luxury travel funded in part publicly, private wealth support, all tied to someone whose official income was relatively modest. And that's why this story matters, because it's not just about wealth, it's about privilege, power, and perception. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think this level of royal luxury is justified, or is it completely out of touch? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into royal wealth and celebrity lifestyles, like, comment, subscribe, because we've got more insane stories coming your way. And trust me, they only get crazier from here.